my father taught me. If you want something done.
So this is what my father taught me from when I was a child.
What my father taught me.
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 What did my father teach me?
What my father taught me. If you want something done right, do it yourself. Back in middle school, there was a 3-on-3 basketball tournament. It was the biggest deal back then. And one of my friends was supposed to sign us up, and he forgot to. And we couldn't play that game. So I remember sitting in the car with my dad. He said, "Joey, if you want something done right, do it yourself."
He taught me to be patient and not rush into things. Because as a child, of course, you're always very impatient, wanting to rush, being very impulsive. And he taught me that. It was a hard lesson to learn as a child. And I had to learn it several times because invariably, I would rush into something or want to rush into something, and then he would let me do it, and then things wouldn't go the way I wanted them to go. And after a while, he didn't even have to say, "I told you so."
One time I was walking in New York City with my dad and my older brother Scott, and my dad stopped, and there was a homeless man on the street, and he told us to walk up a few feet, and he gave him some money, and I said, "Well, why did you give him money?" And he said, "Well, he's homeless, and I was about 14, and where I lived there was, excuse me, no homeless people." And he said, "You know, he didn't have anything to eat. Usually I go to McDonald's and give him a hamburger and a cup of coffee." And I thought about that. I gave him food and usually spend it on alcohol. And I just remember my dad always giving people things and being generous and kind. Till the day he died, he opened doors for people, and he was just a kind, generous, loving man. And
So growing up, I've noticed he taught me to be kind to people and treat people how you wanted to be treated. He didn't explicitly tell me that lesson, but I learned that through watching him and how he interacted with people and how kind he was and how giving he was. Numerous times I've seen him give of himself, his time, his money, and other things just to make sure other people are happy. He was always worried about what other people thought, not necessarily of him, but just what was on their mind, what was troubling them, and took time to listen to what they had to say. And that's probably the most important lesson I've learned from my father.
Probably the one thing that I remember the most that my father taught me is he actually taught me how to fish when I was 9 years old. We were at my grandparents' beach house, and there was this dock at the marina that we used to go to, and I remember catching tiny little reef fish off of the dock, and my dad teaching me how to cast the rod, and how to cut the bait, how to tie the hook onto the line, and all that stuff. And it's just like those kind of memories is the stuff that you don't get with any other person. Like your dad is the person that teaches you that kind of stuff. And I mean, there's a whole host of other things that he taught me over the course of my life, but I think those types of memories are things that stick with me.
He taught me to be reliable by example and by saying that directly to me. I remember in high school I'd have 6 a.m. practices, and he said he'd take me, and every morning that I had it, he would be up and ready at 5:45 to take me to my high school so I could practice basketball. And I think I'm gonna miss those trips more than anything, but the lessons that he taught me by being there for me when I needed him and being reliable is something that I'll carry with me forever.
What my father taught me is the importance of being curious. Throughout my life, he encouraged me to ask questions to continue learning and be curious about the things around me. He taught me the value of knowledge and how far it can get you in life in so many different ways.
My father taught me how to have fun. I would say more than anything. He gave me a lot of life lessons, but how to enjoy life. Till his final breath, when he unfortunately passed away, he was always doing what he loved. He played poker, and so much of my life, I I was in and out of trouble as a kid, always getting involved in stuff that I probably shouldn't have been. But as long as it was done in good faith and it was done with in the right spirit, I always knew that I would be able to justify what I did as long as I wasn't doing anything stupid like drugs or anything like that or alcohol, but just having a good time, getting into stupid random trouble with friends and just enjoying the moment. Because my dad always told me, you never know when life will come to an end, and unfortunately that came for him a lot sooner than I expected. So I take every breath that I take as a remembrance of him, and to realize that every day is worth living and it's an absolute joy, and I wish he was around to see where I'm at today.